Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the very last time, welcome to Hockenheim. For the very last time, welcome to the DTM Trophy 2022. It's the 14th race of the season and final race of the season. We've already crowned our champion, but there are still a couple of positions up for grabs. P3, where the money lies, is still up for grabs. It's now 8 points of difference between Teo Overhaus and Thiago Vivacqua. And then we've got a three-way challenge for what would be a top 5 position. So, yeah, very interesting to say the least here. But Tim Heinemann, of course, crowned champion yesterday. Colin Carasani kept it alive by going out there and winning and getting fastest lap, but it wasn't quite enough because Tim just needed to get a top 6, and he did just that. But yes, again, very interesting to see that Thiago Vivacqua is, again, only 8 points behind Teo Overhaus. He starts pole position. And then we've got 1 point difference between teammates. Eduard Cauhalpa is 1 point behind Rodrigo Diaz Almeida. Teammates, and as it stands on the grid, Cauhalpa's P3, and indeed Almeida's all the way down at P17. So, yeah, Eduard with a big chance to get himself up into that top 5. My name's Luke Crane. I will be your commentator today. Hopefully I find you well. Hopefully you're excited for some DTM Trophy action. They are just about coming through the pit lane. You may wonder, well, this is a little bit late. There's a little bit of a delay. Well, we have just crowned Sheldon van der Linde the DTM champion, and cars were doing donuts. There was fireworks going off. Streamers went off as well. It was an absolute show there at the end, so that's why we've got a little bit of a delay. But celebrating championships, we can deal with that for a delay, that's for sure. Anybody watching on YouTube right now, let me know where you're watching from around the world. Maybe let me know who you're supporting today as well. And also, go out there on social media, tag the stream, and indeed get some of your friends watching as well. Always good to see people watching. And if you're watching on television right now, you can send me a message if you have any questions about the championship at ActralVision on Twitter and indeed on Instagram. Right, there's all the formalities out the way. And now we're just waiting for the cars to come around the grid. So again, the race start might be delayed ever so slightly. It's supposed to start in around about 8 minutes, or indeed the formation lap's supposed to start in around about 8 minutes. But we will have a slight delay here as the cars do indeed make it away around their circuit for their position on the grid. So let's just go through the championship standings then for you all. Tim Heinemann, crown champion. He's on 209 points. Colin Carasani is in second. Colin could actually, if he wins today, go out with the most wins in the season. So he could indeed make it 5 wins for the season. Him and Tim are both on 4 as it stands. So yeah, he could indeed make it 5 wins if he wins today. Thiago Vivacqua could make it the 7th different winner of the season. We've had 6 winners so far, and could we make it 7? Also, Joseph Knob, who is in second position, he has a chance to get a race win as well. Very similarly to Eduard Cauhalpa, neither of those drivers have scored a race win so far this season. So again, that could be the 7th different winner. Andrinaco, who starts in P5, has not got a race win this season. Jacob Regal, who starts P7, has not got a race win this season. So that there's sort of 6 drivers out of the top 8 who have yet to win, which is very exciting indeed. We've then got Almeida, who's currently in, Colin Carasani on 173 points, safe in second position. Teo Overhaus then in third on 140, only 8 points clear of Thiago Vivacqua. Then we've got Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, who cannot get up into the top 4, but is trying to hold on to a top 5. 1 point clear of his teammate Eduard Cauhalpa, who's on 102 points. A little bit further back then, we've got 86 points for Jacob Regal, 1 point clear of Daniel Gregor. So the battle for a top 7 is very much on. They've also got Lewis Henkefend, who's from P9, only 5 points behind Jacob Regal himself as well. And Nick Hanke as well, who's 7 points behind a top 7 finish. Moritz Lohner on 69 points, nice, is in 11th position and is 10 points behind a potential top 10. So those are really the only moves and shakes we can see today. But hopefully I've painted a nice enough picture for you. There it is, Moritz Lohner. As you can see there, starts in P11 and is P11 in the championship. So a very appropriate position indeed. So we've got Datuna watching from Georgia as well. Skolde, of course, watching from Germany. We've got people from Hungary. Susan Hoyt watching from the US. New Zealand there as well. Murillo supporting Thiago Vivacqua, of course. Who else have we got here? We've got people from India as well, which is phenomenal to see. Hessen from Germany supporting Tim and Teo. Nice to see indeed. So again, just seeing a few questions about the start time. It might be slightly delayed. It's supposed to be starting at 15:15, but we may have a delay. And actually, it's just been confirmed it will be 15:20. So exactly 5 minutes of a delay. And again, there's delays that we don't like to see, but there's delays that we do like to see. Celebrating champions, I'm absolutely all for that. So yeah, let them celebrate, let them get excited. There's a lot of hard work gone in this year from the drivers, particularly. So yeah, a chance for Sheldon to celebrate. You don't want to rush that, that's for sure. But anyway, we all know that the DTM Trophy never fails to indeed impress us. We always have a sensational race, and it's well worth watching, waiting for another 5 minutes. Vanessa here supporting Lucas Marron as well. Lucas Marron for president. I've seen that a couple of times this weekend as well. Ricky's got loads of fans watching as well. Rodrigo has loads of fans too. Sophie Hoffman with some fans watching as well. People from Poland watching. So many different people from around the world getting themselves involved. As we see some moustaches there. Love to see that. Wonder how long it took for them to grow. And there is everybody's favourite sim racer, Moritz Lohner. Becoming a bit of a diva now, having an umbrella propped above as a parasol for a bit of shade. For Moritz Lohner. For the final time this season, we'll start then a little bit further back than he probably would have wanted. Starting down in 10th position. So here's Gruber then. So Gruber is starting in 9th position on the very same row. And there you can see the engine. Not a lot of room for shopping there. So the boot goes down. Focus. One of our guest drivers for the weekend, of course, only 2 chances to go out there and win. So you've got to go out there and impress. Last opportunity to impress also in the first weekend that they've been here. Yeah, it's a very, very hard sport to impress in, is motorsport. They get very many opportunities, especially if you're a guest appearance here at Hockenheimring at the finale where everybody is frantically fighting for their lives. Good to see the car being signed there for Theo Overhaus. Incredible team who've been incredible to be around all season long, supporting Theo, of course. We had that one weekend at the Nürburgring where he did double duty. He raced in the DTM for Volkenhorst Motorsport and also for the trophy as well. It was a little bit too much for him, but the fact that he's been seen as that good, to be given that opportunity, the youngest ever driver to race in DTM, he's got a huge future ahead. Jacob Regal then, who showed some really good pace this weekend, starts down in P7. What kind of race car do we have today, though? So Regal would love to become the 7th different winner of the season. Has many podiums. Always smiling is Jacob, always smiling. Here's Karasani then with the Zebra in that BMW for Project One. And I think you'll find that that might be Maxi Mouston there, who's just been crowned the BMW M2 champion. We'll probably be seeing him next season. Very good friends with Colin. Both very young, talented drivers. Maxime there looking like he's straight from Top Gun Maverick. And then just a little bit further up then, another guest driver, Vincent Andrinaco. Of course, cannot score points this weekend, but can score a podium. Has a grid penalty, that's why he's P5. He actually qualified 2nd, so there's some serious pace in that car today. Are we going to see this Porsche on the podium? Tim Heinemann then, double champion. They've managed to get the team name in this time. Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing. Yes, it is the longest team name in the world of motorsport. And they are the champions this season. Not the team champions, but a chance to secure 2nd position with only 1 car, which is very impressive indeed. But the Drivers' Championship, sewn up, done and dusted. Tim, 2-time Tim, the inaugural winner in 2020 and the winner in 2022. Starting Down in P4 on that second row. We'll have the outside line running down in towards turn number 1. So it's nice to see the whole team signing the cars as well, leaving their mark on the car. They've left their mark in terms of the engineering, in terms of all of the hard work they put in towards this team effort. But nice to leave their actual mark on the car. There you see championship leader, championship winner. The most luscious locks on the grid. It's Eduard Kauhalber. See the wind blowing the hair back there. It's like a scene from a movie. For the BWT Mooker Motorsport outfit. Starts P3. Could he potentially be our 7th different winner of the season? Qualifying hasn't historically been the strong point. Race starts also hasn't been a strong point. But consistency across the race is where Kauhalber is strong. So if he gets a good start here, filters in nicely, there's a big opportunity here for the young Frenchman to end the season with a bang. And here is the KTM Expo Crossboat for the RTR Projects. The Czech driver, Josef Knopp, starts on the front row. Was fastest in free practice 2. Yesterday didn't go to plan. Got involved with Nick Hanker as well. Down in towards the hairpin. That starts a little bit further up today. An opportunity, perhaps. Could Knopp become the 7th different winner of 14 races this season? Or will it be Thiago Vivacqua? The coolest, calmest driver on the grid, for sure. Always so relaxed. Starts on pole position again. He's been on pole position a few times this season. But is there finally the opportunity for him to go out there and get a race victory? There's the klaxon. Not long to go here then. Just 3 minutes to go. And I'm wondering if the whistle is working today or they're just going to give up on the whistle idea. It's the Expo's door/roof will get closed. Predictions then, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I've got you. I can see you. Let me know who do you think is going to win today's race. Max Light there supporting just Brazil. All the Brazilians. Let's have an incredible finale. Racing should prove to be a spectacle. Nice little wave there from Thiago. Had a chat with him earlier on. Of course, if you don't follow DTM Trophy on Instagram, you should absolutely do so. We always put interviews from the drivers in terms of if they finish in first in free practice 1, free practice 2, qualifying or the race. We always try and get an interview with the lead driver in each of those sessions. So, yeah, at DTM Trophy on Instagram. You should always follow there. Also get to just see the other side of the drivers. You get to see their face, which is quite important as well. So we've got Wash, who thinks that Tim's going to win. Oh, predictions. I can't give a prediction. I think that we are the winners. The fans and the commentator are the winners of this one, for sure. Looks like a few people are being swapped around at the back of the grid here. I think people might have been misplaced on the grid. So a couple of drivers are being swapped around. Looks like Hoffman's moved up a couple of spots. And it looks like Jordan Wallace may have moved right to the back here. So that's what the hold-up is right now. So that's now going to be sorted. And we should be ready to rock and indeed roll. So there is the 1 minute board. And it would appear we did have budget for a whistle that worked today, which is great news. And the most important job of pressing the button to set us on our way. All the lids and indeed the doors are closing here. And it is 30 minutes plus 1 lap more of this season. This incredible season. So there we go. People running off of the grid. Will we have a 7th different winner of the season? Or will someone like Tim Heinemann reign supreme once again? Will he end this season as he started it? Will Colin Karasani pick up a 5th victory and make him the most winningest driver of the season? Tim with 4 wins, Colin with 4 wins as well. Will someone like Teo Overhaus add to his already impressive CV at the tender age of 17 years old and pick up another victory and become the third most winningest driver in the history of the DTM Trophy? Or will someone new write their chapter into the playbook? Yesterday's race was incredible. The respect levels in this championship have been exceptional. There have been a few tangles here and there, but for the most part, they have all raced fair. But for one last time, we hope for an absolute cracker. And maybe enough to make me lose my voice. So they're all heading then down towards the hairpin. Got to try and get some heat into the tyres. Very warm day here for October as well. Like a very warm day. So surprised. I've actually got a little bit of sunburn. It is that warm. We've got here Colin for the win as well. Graga just wants more Porsches. Stig's Indian cousin wants a KTM to win. And we've got Laura Sophie just wants more Aston Martins on the grid. So no predictions, they just want more cars on the grid. I agree. Absolutely. All the cars. Out the hairpin they come then. Into sector number 2, weaving, bobbing and weaving. Trying to get heat into the tyres. So we see there, Nick Hanker, Philip Dinez. There's Tim Heinemann, who just loves getting the car sideways. Really has found a knack with that Toyota Supra. As we head then into the stadium section. For the very final time before we get this race underway, the safety car will peel away. Thiago Vivacqua again has been on pole a few times this season, and he's never been able to get that car to fire off the start line. Is today the day? Historically as well, the KTM Crossbow has never really been good at starting races. So maybe a chance for someone like Tim Heinemann to indeed steal a couple of spots through his experience, or even Edward Kauhalper to potentially get himself up into the lead here. Are we going to see a new winner, or will we see someone rise from the lower ends of the grid to take victory? 24 cars then lined up 2 by 2 for the finale here of the DTM Trophy. P3 and P5 still to be sorted out this season as the pace car then goes into the pit lane here. We round that final turn and we are waiting for those green lights to appear. It's Thiago Vivacqua from Brazil on the right-hand side. It's then the Czech driver of Joseph Knopp. And then on the outside here, and I tell you what, Tim Heinemann's got an incredible start. He's all the way around the outside, but equally is Vivacqua. Vivacqua then will go into turn 1 and out of turn 1 in the lead. Bit of contact there between Knopp and indeed Heinemann, and I'm not sure really Heinemann's done too much wrong there. Not able to hold on to it, just falling backwards here, all out the top 10 now actually, in all fairness. We head them through turn number 2, and Vivacqua and Heinemann, who had a hellacious battle at the Red Bull Ring, are now going to be going at it here once again, side by side between the two of them as well actually. And I tell you what, by the time we get down in towards turn number 1, as Daniel Gregor ventures off the circuit, and off the circuit we go there for Rodrigo Almeida. Almeida into the wall, the rear right absolutely done. That is race over then for Rodrigo Almeida. No, is it Rodrigo Almeida? No, it's not. It was not Almeida at all. There is Kauhalper. So Kauhalper had a terrible start here as well, and things have not gone well. It looks like Daniel Gregor's Porsche's got a puncture to the rear left as well. And I think you'll find we're going to have a safety car here. Tim Heinemann did get up to the lead. Wow, how has that gone down? How has Edward Kauhalper ended up so far down that I had no idea it was him? So Edward, who was looking to become the 7th different winner of the season, unfortunately, has ended up in a wall here on lap number 1. And wow, that is going to take some time to recover. But we will get to see that all once again. But the big winner in this situation is Tim Heinemann, absolutely flying around the outside. Down towards turn number 1. And by turn number 5 into the hairpin, Heinemann had got the job done. And now with a safety car out here, will indeed be the lead car on a restart. Colin Carasani's followed him through as well. He's up to P3. Uwe Haus is up to 4th. Regal's gained 2 spots. Andronarco's dropped down a position. Lona up to 7th position. Then we've got Dinez in 8th. Gruber and Hanke as your top 10. Capo and Gregor are in 11th and 12th here, but I think Gregor may have some serious issues here. I'd be very surprised if Gregor is not going to bringing that car into the pit lane here. Just watching him come up towards the pit entrance, and he hasn't. So whatever the issue was, isn't a serious issue. Here is the replay then, and well, look at the reactions there. Tim, one of the older drivers, but reactions not a problem here. Round the outside, this is where the contact is with the KTM crossbow. Sends the crossbow into a bit of a snaking movement there. You can see Regal on the left-hand side trying to make a move on Cal Halper. Maybe we'll see Andronako get involved here. Karasani goes round the outside. And what's happened to Cal Halper? Well, Cal Halper jumps over the sausage curb. This is why he's ended up down. He's lost so much momentum. It's 4 wide there. Moritz learned, and then he gets cleaned out by Nick Hanker, I believe. Or it could have been Regal. I think it was actually Nick Hanker. And as we head then... No, it was Regal, actually. And as we head then through what would be turn number 2, well, we're seeing turn number 2 here. Daniel Gregor was off momentarily. A bit further down, yeah, there's Nop, so locking up the brakes and losing even more positions there. You see Fulgencio coming through. Actually, you see everybody coming through. And, well, Daniel Gregor was off the circuit then, so that's what's happened there. And that's coming through the kink down towards the hairpin. And then Edouard, who's had a terrible race start, and, well, now a race end. You just got to feel gutted, really. And it all comes from going over that sausage curb. You can see there he's left and right, and he just moves over. He just moves over there and tags the rear of, I think it might be Lucas Marron. So I think he's going to tag the rear of Lucas Marron, trying to find some space, maybe not realizing he's boxed in. I'm not sure Lucas can go anywhere else. Yeah, where can Lucas go? He's trying to just find some sort of tarmac and lost all sense of downforce, and Cal Halper then ends up into the wall. Very, very unfortunate. As we see there, the safety car. Wow. The first lap was frantic, but now we've indeed got ourselves a safety car. Everyone can just chill out. We're going to be 2 by 2 very quickly in a minute as well, and then we will get this race restarted. But they've got to, first of all, get this car into a safe place here, and Joseph Knopp is done. So Joseph Knopp is also done here as well, and the young Czech driver is going to be absolutely furious. Yeah, not an ideal start then. And it all stemmed, really, from him going side by side with Heinemann. And, wow, is that Daniel Gregor? So that is Daniel Gregor. He has stopped in the end. So Gregor has indeed stopped. We did see a bit of an issue with the left rear, so that means we've got ourselves, I think, 3 drivers out of this. 4 drivers now. Cal Halper, Knopp, and Folev are also out joining Daniel Gregor. So we're now down to 20 drivers for the remainder of this race. And will we see Tim Heinemann streak away? It looks like he's got a very quick car on Super Sunday. Of course, already crowned our champion. Thiago Vivacqua, how far ahead of Uverhaus is he? Well, currently he is in 2nd. So he's going to be earning 18 points. Uverhaus is in 4th. He's going to be earning 12 points. So right now, Uverhaus still will be in 3rd spot in this championship by 2 points. So if Uverhaus drops down behind Regal, it would still be Uverhaus's on the premise that he's won a race this season on countback. And there's Cal Halper. He's furious. He's got every single reason to be furious as well. As Max says in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, on YouTube, as the safety car is indeed out, take your time to hit that like button, maybe hit that subscribe button as well. It would be very much appreciated. But also, let me know where you're watching from around the world. So the race should be getting going very shortly. So the light's still flashing. So safety car not coming in this lap as it stands. Still could change, though. Here's your live championship points, then. Theo Uverhaus still leading by, it says there, 5 points. So then as we come through the S's, that's why you should never trust a commentator's maths, ladies and gentlemen. You should never trust my maths. So I had it down as 2 points. Still in the lead for Theo Uverhaus. But how wrong I am. So safety car is now coming in this lap, which means we get some racing action. Lovely old job. Into the stadium section we will go. It will be 2 by 2 action. And, well, can Tim get an absolute flyer once again and continue to lead this race? So safety car then, bring him around the hairpin, then up towards the S's, then it's 2 right-handers, and then we're waiting for those green lights to appear. once again. Fastest lap of the race is a 2:29 as it stands right now. That's because we've not had any flying laps really as of yet. There's a safety car. Does pop back in. So there we go. In we go. Now it's time to indeed see reactions from these drivers. Tim Heinemann already smashing one start. Can he do it a second time here? Waiting for those green lights to indeed go. There's the green lights already. 4 or 5 wide. Hoffman trying to find a gap there as well. I can tell you what, it's a great start from indeed Karasani as well. There's big contact here. Nick Hanker's going to come straight back across the track. Andronarco was the cause of that there. They had it coming together. And well, Ricky Capo is just being cleaned out there by Alexandre Papadopoulos. And Hoffman then has nose-to-nose contact with Capo. Capo is done in this race again. And that really, it just sums up his season, getting involved in other people's issues. And he's got the indicator on, and the shake of the head says it all there. I think you're fine, ladies and gentlemen. We will have another safety car here. So not a good start there at all. And it really started from Nick Hanker and indeed Andronarco getting together. Hanker does a 360 pirouette, and then everybody else is really trying to avoid it, trying to find a bit of space, not get involved in anything, and then there was a bit of a shuffle in the background, and ultimately that causes our second safety car. So now there's Ricky, and yeah, that is frustration 101. He is just furious. Lots of liquid out of the car as well. And it's just not been a good season for Ricky. He's got every right to be angry. And he's been asked then to help with the steering, but not sure there's much you can do with the front left there. The lights popped out there as well. And here's the restart there, so we get to see it once again. It's a really good start, actually, from Nick Hanker. Look at Nick Hanker. Tries to find a move on the grass there. Andronarco is not letting him get back on, and yeah, does he have to leave room there? Does Nick Hanker have to yield because he made the move off the track? Again, it's have to be looked at by the race director. It's not my job. But he just really doesn't get rewarded for having such a good start. So he's off the track. He's got 2 wheels on the track. And Andronarco just did not leave the room to get back on. Was Hanker a little bit too greedy, though? That's the question. Again, very similarly to Capo, it's just not been a good season here for Nick Hanker. And well, then there is the aftermath there. Well, we'd have to see exactly what happened there with Capo. So you can see off the circuit we go, still 2 wheels on. Fulgencio's trying to do full rallycross mode there as well. Rides up the side of the Porsche and then comes across. Moritz Lerner, he must be looking at that thinking, whoa, that was nearly my race over. And what about the aftermath here then? So what happens? Yeah, so I think Henkefend has tried to avoid the Aston Martin and squeezed Capo. Capo's then been put into a spin. So you'll see it here in the background. Lewis Henkefend, no, maybe not. So maybe not. Papadopoulos was the contact initially with Capo, and then Hoffman was the innocent bystander, really. Not really anywhere that Hoffman could have gone in that scenario. Here is Fulgencio, but again, we're kind of too bright, really, to see exactly what's happened there. We need to see it from like an inside the corner camera. As you can see, liquid coming out of the front of the Porsche. And just a very, very unfortunate turn of events. Well, here's the frustration. That poor door. Although that's the least of the worries for the car. And another day ends in disaster for Ricky Capo. So the safety car's still on track here. And that will be, I think Nick Hanker might be stopped here as well now. So all those fluids now being covered. So there's going to be a lack of grip on the exit of turn number 1. So you've got to be ultra careful through there now. But this does really kind of feel like the last day of school, where you burn your school ties kind of deal. Everybody just kind of trying to maximize their result, but kind of by any means necessary. And that's actually both of the Kuss Team Bernard cars now out of this race. Where is Nick Hanker? That's the question. Has Nick just stopped on track somewhere? So there's the recovery of the vehicle. Again, it's in a pretty favorable place to recover nicely. In all of that, by the way, Teo Uverhaus has made it up into P2. Vivek will drop down to P4. Well, there's Nick Hanker's car. So Nick Hanker's car is off the circuit there, the Aston Martin. And I'm very surprised that Hoffman's car's still going here, but it seems like everything is okay. You'll see in your shot now. We just about missed it there. Yeah, not the greatest start here. We're nearly halfway through this race, and, well, unfortunately, we've not had really many laps racing. But it is Tim Heinemann that leads here. Theo Uverhaus in second, the 2 Ts, and that would guarantee a P3 in this championship for Theo Uverhaus. We've then got Colin Karasani, who will be looking to add another victory to his CV. Then we've got Vivacqua in fourth. And we've got Jacob Regal, Andronacco, Moritz Lohner, Fulgencio. Lucas Marron up to P9. Philip Dinez in a top 10 as it stands. Rodrigo Almeida, Nico Gruber. We've then got Henke Fend and Wallace, Papadopoulos, Litvinenko. And we've got JP Southern and Sophie Hoffman as your 18 remaining drivers. So safety car, bringing them around, and it will be a single file restart. So single file restart here, which will be music to the ears of Tim Heinemann, who actually has the fastest lap here, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. The fastest lap is currently a 58.919, considering that they've been doing 46s this weekend. It will definitely get beaten again. Tim is just kind of in that mood. That's kind of how he walks around the paddock at the moment as well. Just swagging around, and we are now going here. So it's up to Tim to take them away, and he's fired off into the distance already. To come then round the final couple of corners. Ooh, I'll tell you what, nearly caught up to the safety car there. He isn't going to. The safety car is safely into the pit lane. But Tim Heinemann is indeed in the lead here. Theo Uverhaus is in second. Thiago Vivacqua off rally crossing then on the exit of the final corner. Jacob Regal says thank you very much. I think Andronacco is also going to go through. He does. Moritz Lohner will be hoping for a position to gain himself here. And I'm wondering that actually Thiago Vivacqua might have some more mechanical issues because he is a bit of a sitting duck as it stands. Andronacco then is going to send one round the outside of turn 2. Sweeps it round the outside of the Speed Monkeys Aston, and I tell you what, that is as good a move as you're going to see all day long. That was brilliantly judged there by Andronacco. Keeps hold of the position, and now has to try and keep that inside line all the way down towards the hairpin. The Aston Martin, though, seems to be struggling with a bit of straight line poke. Look how close Vivacqua's now getting to these two here. Jacob Regal maybe going to look to send one up the inside. Vivacqua's going to be round the outside. He's boxed in, though, in terms of braking. Moritz Lohner trying to get involved here as well. Regal finds an inside line on Andronacco. A bit of contact between the two of them. And Vivacqua is not going to find that move around the outside either. So as we come then up towards this right-hand kink, Vivacqua is going to lose out. I'm not sure he's going to be able to keep an overlap. And well, how wrong could I be? Down then in towards the stadium section here. Vivacqua on the inside line, gets it done. It's a brilliant move there from Thiago Vivacqua. And well, I was thinking he might have some sort of mechanical damage. I tell you what, I'm wrong again. And well, if you've been watching this series for the most of this year, you know I can be wrong quite often. Moritz Lohner watching this in front thinking, yep, you boys crack on. I'll indeed try and catch up to you and grab some positions if it goes wrong for you both. Up towards the hairpin and into the final section of this circuit. And while Thiago Vivacqua there has just been sent off into the gravel by Jacob Regal, Moritz Lohner's going to try and get through. And well, Thiago Vivacqua is going to be absolutely furious with that. Not a lot he could do differently there. And I think Regal will be under investigation for that, for sure. Lucas Marron now joining onto the back of this. Fulgencio, who had a 6th position grid penalty, is already up into P8 here. Started outside the top 20 to Fulgencio. And right now, he has made incredible moves here up to that top 8. Jacob Regal does lead this group of cars. Andronacco has been given a bit of a freebie in terms of being able to drive away. As we head then down towards turn number 2, Moritz Lohner now trying to do exactly what Andronacco did on the previous lap. Oh, he has done it. He's not quite clear, though, and it is going to be a drag race between the two of them. Look at Fulgencio. He will be licking his lips in the slipstream then of the Aston Martin. He's got a teammate there ahead of him as well, and are we going to see the potential 3 wide? We are absolutely going to see the 3 wide there. Regal trying to squeeze Fulgencio. Moritz Lohner gets ahead of both of them. And as we head then down in towards the braking zone, Fulgencio will open up the hairpin. There's a move being made in the background here as well. Moritz Lohner's just about going to miss the apex, but both of them are clear of the Aston Martin. The two BMWs for FK Performance Motorsport are up into what would be 6th and 7th position respectively. Lovely bit of driving by both of them. Through the kink they go, down in towards the massive stand that oversees this lovely right-hand corner as Lucas Marron now trying to make a move on Regal. Regal just about leaving enough room. Marron just about leaving enough room. Regal just about holding on. Philippe Dinez in the background with the other CV Performance car. Wants to try and get ahead of his teammate. Wants to try and get ahead of Jacob Regal as well. And I'll tell you what, the first half of this race was full of incident, but wow, it's well worth the wait because now we are seeing some exceptional driving here. Tim Heinemann still leading this race, 7/10 of a second between him and Taya Overhaus. Then a further 7/10 back is Colin Carasani. They are all very close at the front end indeed. And because of the safety car, their tyres will still be in good nick. So expect to see them proper racing during the remainder of this race. Lucas Marron then trying to keep toe with Philippe Dinez. Dinez is being dragged along here by Jacob Regal. So the changes of position have happened here. We're about to see Heinemann, I think, run a little bit wide. Well, no, he doesn't run a little bit wide. This is the initial mistake from Thiago Vivacqua. Bits of car flying off there, gravel flying up in the air, lost 2 positions. And really, that was the beginning of the end, to be honest, because Vivacqua was now down in P16. So not a good race here at all from the pole sitter. And again, very similarly to the likes of Ricky Capo and Nick Hanker, Thiago Vivacqua has had a very, very unfortunate season. And this just adds to that list. So here we go. Here's the contact then between Regal and Andronacco. Andronacco sent off wide. The car number 31 has got a warning for track limits as well. That's Thiago Vivacqua. I think the penalty of running into the gravel was enough there. And here's the contact. So Regal sends Vivacqua off into the gravel, and that was pretty much the end of his race. Look at this, just a nudge. And where can Vivacqua go there? Regal just not able to indeed get on the brakes enough. And Vivacqua's the innocent party there and loses so much there. New race distance, by the way, is an extra 2 laps. Car 63 has got a drive-through penalty, and can you really argue with that? I'm not sure you can. Regal's going to be furious, but ultimately he deserves the penalty there. It's a slam dunk penalty for sure. As we come then through the final couple of corners, he's going to indeed pop the car into the pits now, and that gives Philippe Dinez a P7 here. So the CV Performance team, of course, no strangers to points scored in this championship. They were here last season with Will Tregertha, who finished 2nd overall. They are now double point scoring. And actually, I think you'll find Nico Gruber is only 1 position away from potentially joining them as well. So Nico Gruber could potentially be a triple points finish for the CV Performance team at this guest start. Andronacco for Allied Racing, also a guest starter, currently the lead driver in that regard. He's currently in P4. They cannot score points, so that would mean right now that Papadopoulos would score points, Wallace would score points, and indeed Thiago Vivacqua, even down in P15, would get the top 10 point score because the guest drivers do not score points. They're battling for the position and the trophies, but they do not score points. Tim Heinemann, fastest lap of the race. Add that to the already long list of achievements he has had in the DTM Trophy. Already champion, of course, and still, it's not enough. A born winner. Just needs to win, win, win. No off button. Philippe Dinez holding off his teammate here. Lucas Marron, though, seems to have found a bit of pace here and has just journeys his way onto the back of his teammates' AMG Mercedes. But look who's chasing them down as well. Lewis Henkefend would love to gain some more points here at the end of the season. But as it stands, Tim Heinemann leads. 9 minutes to go in this race, +2. Then you've got Taya Overhaus, who's currently in 2nd position, losing time every single lap because Heinemann is just on it. Then you've got Carasani, Andronacco, and then Moritz Lohner, who's currently in P5, looking to try and, well, make a move here. What's happened to Andronacco? Has he been told to come in as well? So Andronacco, I've not had anything come up in terms of penalties on my screen, or the race director, but Andronacco is into the pits here from P4, and that hands Lohner the position. So they're bringing the car in, and there must be a problem. So there must be a problem here. And the car has been turned off Well, now we're going to get a look at the replay start here, or maybe it's a stop-go penalty. Is it for that? For not leaving room for him to come back on? Not 100% sure here. Again, we're seeing Nick Hanke trying to get back onto the track, and again, he's made the move off the track there. I'm not sure what Andronako is expected to do. I just realised from that picture there, Jacob Regal was very fortunate that he didn't get taken out by his own teammate there. Well, no, Andronako's out the car. He's smiling. So, I don't know. I have no idea there, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very, very strange turn of events. But who's been gifted a position? Well, Moritz Lohner and Fulgencio. I tell you what, Fulgencio started outside the top 20. He's in the top 5 right now. Maybe going to push up towards Moritz Lohner. How much pace do they have? Can they maybe catch up to Karasani and battle for a podium? 7 minutes to go, plus 3 laps. I'm getting in the race director now. So this is fascinating stuff here. Fulgencio, my driver of the day for sure here, is Moritz. Well, I've actually just seen Moritz Lohner completely run off the circuit there. And well, that's one way of getting your sponsors and getting your manufacturer on screen. As it's now left there at the hairpin. Moritz just making sure everybody knows that he's in a BMW. But he's lost a position to his teammate there. So Fulgencio now moves up into P4. And how many positions can the Spaniard go out there and get? So here we go. We're going to see this once again. Oh, he loses the rear. Oh, then it's a bit of a tank slapper. And in all fairness, for him to just save that car, oh, that's impressive. And then it's just, oh, well, do you know what? For my troubles, we'll pick up the BMW sign as well. He's like, do you know what? This is going to look a lot cooler if I hit that sign. Look at that. Perfect. Absolutely spot on. Back onto the circuit we go. Loss of a position to the teammate. The job is fine. That's one way of doing team orders. Although I can assure you that is not what they were trying to do. So now really, Fulgencio's been given some clear track. He's been given an opportunity. Can he go and chase down for a podium? Imagine, outside the top 20 to start with and gets a podium at the end. That would be incredible. Be absolutely incredible. Heinemann still leading, 2.2 seconds. I've said that many a time. I need to have a jar next season if Tim's to be in the championship. Every time I mention Tim Heinemann's leading, put a pound in there. I'll have a fair chunk of change for some beers at the end of the season, that's for sure. And you see Moritz Lohner, by the way, his whole radiator is non-existent anymore. The great grating from it. There's more polystyrene being hit onto the track here. He's now trying to chase down back towards his teammate here. And his teammate isn't really making any inroads here of the top 3. So the top 3 looks like it might be set, albeit there's still 5 minutes plus 3 laps to go in this race. The top 1, Tim Heinemann, absolutely incredible. Car number 33 has got a black and white flag here as well. So that is Litvinenko. So one more time, it will be a time penalty added to their race time. So running down in towards turn number 5, all the way down towards the hairpin. Lights are on here. Celebration mode for the Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing. Yes, it is the longest team name in the history of motorsport. It is a mouthful to say. But yes, Tim looking for another victory. The most points he's ever scored in the DTM Trophy history is Tim Heinemann. The most race wins in the DTM Trophy Championship, Tim Heinemann. 2 championships out of 3 seasons, Tim Heinemann. He's an absolute monster. I will say one thing though. Philippe Denez and Lewis Henkefend are starting to catch up here to Moritz Lohner and indeed Fulgencio. Be aware here that Moritz Lohner may end up having an overheated car here because it's so exposed. Well, there you go. Car pulled over. Philippe Denez on his debut, now up to a top 5. So the BS competition driver in the sim racing world is overtaking everyone's favourite sim racer. It's almost like I wrote the script. Lewis Henkefend now the next driver to go past Moritz Lohner, and I would be very surprised now if Moritz is not pulling that car into the pits. So that exposed radiator is going to overheat the engine. And there's some serious trouble there. Maybe the tyres have gone off. There's some damage to the car, that's all I know. And he's just falling further and further backwards. Just a very unfortunate turn of events. Maybe looking at a podium once during this race, but not quite now. Here's Lucas Marron, then the next driver to try and get involved here as well. Off the circuit we go once again for Moritz Lohner. And Lucas Marron, it's like taking candy from a baby, isn't it? That looked very pedestrian. Looks like two different classes, actually, how quickly the Mercedes was able to make the move down in towards turn one. And well, next up then is Almeida, of course. Almeida, winner from the Red Bull Ring, became our 6th different winner of the season at the Red Bull Ring. And he's now just scrapping for points near the back. Now, the next driver to come through is now Nico Gruber. So all of the CV Performance drivers, all of them are guest drivers right now, and they are all in the top 10. They don't get points, but again, a top 10 finish is a top 10 finish. Having all 3 cars there just goes to show the preparation they've put in. As everybody and their brother decides to run wide then through the hairpin. A lot of grip on the outside of the corner, to be fair. And that's the same that could be said for the 4 from last corner as well. The hairpin going into the stadium section. As Moritz Lohner is now pulling over, the car going slower and slower and slower as Lewis Henkefend trying to potentially move up into a top 5 himself. He's chasing down Philippe Denez. And Denez will be eagerly trying to hold on to that position. Still a fair few laps to go. Still 4 laps to go, actually, in this race. Feels like this race has been going on for a lot longer than that. And the gap between the front 2 now is 2.2 seconds. So Uverhaus has found a bit of pace near the end of this race, but it's just not quite enough, I don't think. Needs to find around about half a second a lap. Fulgencio really is the driver that's flying at this stage of the race. There's a 3-way fight here then for 7th position. Lucas Marron, of course, currently our 3rd most winningest driver in the history of the DTM Trophy, raced in Season 1 and Season 2. It's his first appearance this weekend here at Hockenheimring. Maybe we get to see him full-time next season. That would be pretty cool. He's a lovely guy. But he's had an incredible season in the GTC Championship as Moritz Lohner does bring the car into the pits. He's been driving Lamborghinis this season. He's been driving AMG GT3s, GT4 AMGs. He's had an incredible season as Lucas Marron. It's just good to see him on the grid. Anyway, 3 AMGs going into one corner. Which one comes out in the lead? 2 CV Performances with a pink ham-looking car being the meat in this sandwich. And are we going to see a potential move from Almeida? Actually, he's left the door open there on the exit. And Nico Gruber in the blue, white and black CV Performance car, not quite able to make the move. So is Almeida going to be able to get ahead here of Lucas Marron? This gives a nice bit of breathing room to Henkefend and Denez, who are both battling for P5. Bit of a mistake there from Lucas Marron. Runs a little bit wide, so the door left ever so slightly ajar. And, well, not really quite close enough to take advantage as we go on board then with Tim Heinemann in that final sector. To anybody who is indeed enjoying the broadcast, I'm watching the YouTube comments right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we will be back next season, I can assure you, and this will never, ever let you down. Always a cracker of a race. Some absolute superstars taking part as well. I think Regal's making his way back through the pack, by the way. He's just overtaken JP Southern. So Jacob Regal, who had a drive-through penalty for contact earlier on in this race, with Thiago Vivacqua, is now making his way back through the race. This battle, though, between the 3 AMGs, still going strong. As including this lap, we have 3 to go. So 2.5 laps left for Tim Heinemann. As we make the way through the hairpin of turn 2, then through the S's, and now it's the long run all the way down to the hairpin. The hairpin, as we will call it. Can Almeida potentially find something under braking? Seemed a little bit better last time around than Marron. As we see here, Fulgencio taking full advantage of the fact that Moritz had issues. As we see there, Almeida tries to make a move, forces Marron to go defensive here, which means that Marron will be very sluggish on the exit, gives Gruber a chance to close the gap, but again, they are still in that formation, 83, 19, 84. It is a BWT Muka Motorsport sandwich right now. They are the meat of the CV Performance bread. As we head then through this kinked left-hander, and again, you just see there a late defensive move from Marron, basically. Oh, there's a little kiss there. Pretty sure he knows you're there, Almeida. I appreciate the little kiss, but he knows you're there. Will we see a move as they come into the stadium section for the third from last time. Through the left-hander, using the camber to get the car turned. A lot of grip on the outside, not so much grip on the inside. And once again, they are still in the same formation. And if anything, Lucas Marron may have gained a little bit of time there. And actually the door may be a bit left open. It is left open here. So Rodrigo Almeida starting to struggle here. And Gruber, well, he's looking to steal something here. Was actually the fastest driver out there in free practice 1 earlier this week. And will Nico Gruber be able to find something? Tim Heinemann probably listening to some classical music in the car right now. Maybe a bit of Queen, We Are the Champions. Just a very relaxed Tim Heinemann this season. I cannot stress that enough. Season 1, very uptight and just was very stressed about the whole situation. This season, it's just been a pleasure to be around, actually. Always got a smile on his face and it's just taken everything in his stride. And I guess when you're already champion, a little bit of pressure is taken off of you. But he's just been a bit of a different Tim Heinemann. And unless you've met him before this season, it's very difficult to actually explain. But he has been an absolute pleasure to be around this season, and he's very thoroughly deserves being champion as well. That's for sure. As do the team. The team are incredible. The amount of work they've put in over the last couple of seasons. They so nearly won it last season. They could have been involved, but with unfortunately at the Norris ring, it just didn't work out at the second to last race, which rendered them out of the championship hunt. But this time, they came in with a 50-point advantage, and while took full advantage of that fact, and indeed needed just a P6 this weekend to be crowned champions. Tim did exactly that yesterday, even though Colin Carasani managed to get the race victory and the fastest lap. So Colin, again, an exceptionally young man, exceptionally talented young man as well. Did everything he could do to try and keep the championship alive, but Tim just did enough. And that was all he was trying to do. It's the first time I've not really seen him push the car. He just wanted to stay in P6, get the job done, and then have a nice relaxing Sunday, if there is such a thing in the world of motorsport. The Toyota Supra then, for the Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing, makes its way down in towards the hairpin for the very final time of this weekend, and indeed of the season. Nice exit there. Teo Overhaus just hoping to pick up some scraps if anything goes wrong. But Tim's done the hard work. So we head then through the right-hander, trying to stay away from the curbs if possible. Sweeping the car then through the left-hander, trying to get a car as far left as possible, as early as possible to open up this next right-hander. Try and keep that power down. And you can see the fans in the stands then awaiting Tim Heinemann to go across that checkered flag. With maybe 4 corners to go. You can hear the applause from the crowd. Everybody appreciating the efforts of Tim. Maybe we'll see him move up. As there's a mistake here. Who's that? That's Lucas Marron. So Lucas Marron's off the circuit here, which is not ideal in the slightest. So Marron is out of this race, but one guy who's not going to be too worried about that is Tim Heinemann. You hear the applause. He is the champion. He's won the championship twice. And wow, what a way to do it in style here at Hockenheimring. The final race of the season, of course, goes to Tim Heinemann. He picks up that checkered flag and yet another victory. The man is a superstar in the making. He will for sure be champion in many different series over the next decade or more. Teo Overhaus, a very similar story, 17 years old, picks up second position, and he confirms himself as third in this championship. Colin Karasani, you've got to tip your hat to that young man, will take second overall in the championship. And he did come here fighting. It's a P1 and a P3. It's 2 podiums. And that young man will be a superstar as well. Marc de Fulgencio, what more can you say about the Spaniard? Outside the top 20 to begin with, a P4 finish. Incredible stuff then. Philippe Denez, first ever weekend in the DTM Trophy, a P5 for the CV Performance Motorsport team. Congratulations to Phil Denez. You then got Lewis Henkefen for Project One, of course a graduate from the M2 Cup last season, has moved up into the trophy, and he's had some incredible performances so far this season, and indeed a P6 here today just crowns a very successful season for the Project One driver. But today, the season belongs to this man here, Tim Heinemann. Fully deserves all of the plaudits that he will receive over the next few hours, few days, few weeks, even months. Cracking performance from Tim. And we could watch replay after replay after replay. But the honest truth is we've seen this so many times this season. Such a deserving winner. As you can see there, quite rightly deserving the round of applause. And a shout out to all of the DTM fans who are here still in their thousands. 30,000 today, 75,000 over the course of this weekend. Their support for the drivers, I can tell you, is so, so appreciated. And there is Tim on his well-deserved victory lap. Absolutely outstanding, with all of the signatures from the team on the car. As we see the backdrop there, this is your official race results. And Tim Heinemann, P1. Teo Overhaus takes P2. Colin Karasani finishes in 3rd spot. De Fulgencio in 4th. Denez finishes in your top 5. Then we've got Henkefen in 6th. Almeida in 7th position. Gruber, again, another guest driver, picking up a top 10 here on their first ever attempt. We've then got Jordan Wallace. Give that man a shout out, because I tell you what, he has gone through the ringer this season. A lot of emotion shown, but he's managed to come out with a P9 in the final race. Alexandre Papadopoulos, the most improved driver across this season from me personally, picks up another top 10. If there's points on offer, Papadopoulos has taken it. That is for sure. Litvinenko P12, or sorry, Thiago Vivacqua P11. Litvinenko in P12 on his debut as well. Jacob Regal fought back after the drive-through and finishes P13. JP Southern in 14th position. Does have a shoulder injury, though, he's recovering from. Hoffman does take P15, and on the last lap, heartbreak for Lucas Marron. But I am going to leave you with the pictures here of Tim Heinemann, Teo Overhaus and Colin Karasani. But here's your champion, it's Tim Heinemann.
Bitte noch einmal zusammentreten. Wir brauchen noch ein Bild mit den Trophäen in der Hand auf dem Podium. Okay, steigt ganz nach oben. Wir Tim Heinemann in den Arm. Alle sind glücklich. Es freuen mich noch ein bisschen zu freuen. Riesenapplaus für den Untitled Chapter. So, nach einer ausgiebigen Dusche machen wir gleich weiter mit der Champion-Ehrung. Jetzt hier noch kleinere Umbauarbeiten. Der Trocknungsföhn wird angesetzt und dann melde ich mich gleich wieder. Dann geht's weiter mit dem besten Team und natürlich den Top 3 in der Fahrerwertung.
So there's Colin Karasani, who picks up P3 in today's race. Managed to get himself P2 overall in the championship. Still Colin Karasani's car, but there's Teo Uverhaus, who finishes in second position. Remember the name. Picks up third overall in this year's championship as well. But the season, the day, belongs to Tim Heinemann and the Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing Team. He's not only the winner today, but he's our overall champion. So we've had now the podium for today's race. Now the big one. It's time for the podium for our championship top 3.
So, und bei uns geht's gleich weiter mit der Meisterehrung. Wir küren den Champion und fangen an mit dem siegreichen Team der Saison 2022. Und da rufe ich Marcel Jürgen Wichmann aufs Podium, stellvertretend für das Project Young Team. Gratulation! Platz 3 in der Tabelle. Der Deutsche Theo Uverhaus. Gratulation! Der Vize-Champion der DTM Trophy 2022 kommt aus den Niederlanden und heißt Colin Karasani. Gratulation! Und ganz oben aufs Podium steigt der DTM Trophy Champion des Jahres 2022 und der heißt Tim Heinemann. Tja, Gratulation an die 4 auf dem Podium und zu Ehren des Champions, zu Ehren Tim Heinemanns nun die deutsche Hymne. Also, die Top 4 da unten am Podium. Schöner Applaus hier unten und damit kommen wir zur Übergabe der Trophäen. Wir haben jetzt gelernt, wie man die anpacken muss. Martin Tomczyk übernimmt das Ganze und wir starten mit dem siegreichen Team Project One, der DTM Champion aus dem Jahr 2011 und der Repräsentant der deutschen Tourenwagenmasters. Martin Tomczyk übergibt die Trophäe an Marcel Jürgen Wichmann. Herzlichen Glückwunsch an das gesamte Project One Team. Und kein geringerer als der vormalige DTM Trophy Champion Ben Green mit der Trophäe für den drittplatzierten Theo Oeberhaus. Herzlichen Glückwunsch! Der Trophy Champion des Jahres 21 hat auch die Trophäe für den Trophy Vize Champion 22. Ben Green mit dem Pokal für Colin Karasani.
So there are your driver standings. Tim Heinemann, 235 points, beats Colin Karasani, who has 188. Theo Oeberhaus then does take that top 3 with 158 points. Project One are your team champions as well, with Karasani in second and Heinemann in 7th.